Hey everybody, and welcome back to Storytime with JRP. We're continuing our book, Laurence Grey, Secret of the Lost Roanoke Colony, and we're currently in chapter 29. So if you're just joining us, head back to chapter 1 so you don't miss any crucial details. So, a brief recap of the previous chapter. Laurence Grey and his long ancestor, Ben Folger, are talking together in 1673. Ben Folger seems to know more than he's letting on. And meanwhile, back in the present, Jack and Jason are still being held by the NSA. But then, back in 1673, a strange man walks in, and somehow it's an older version of Jason. What's going on? Well, we'll find out now in chapter 29, titled The Alternate Reality. Gray was shocked, stunned. This man was just a manly image of the 14-year-old Jason. The man stepped forward.
Dad, it's me, Jason. I know it may be hard for you to understand, but I really am your son. I'm 24 years old. How old is the other me in your time?
Gray was beyond words. First it was Area 51, then aliens, then time travel, and now alternate realities? How much more can one take?
14, he managed. Jason smiled. My rebel years. I was such a handful then. Anyways, I have an idea of why you came. It's the Roanoke Colony, isn't it?
Gray just smiled. With all the surprises, why not just pile one more on? Yes, that's why I came. But how?
It's a long story, interrupted Jason. One which I must tell you in order for you to understand.
They moved to the living room. Jason began.
First, Dad, can you give me a brief summary of your last couple years? Most likely, it's very different from my own timeline.
Certainly, said Gray. It all began when I drove to the library for work. After about an hour later, Laurence Grey finished retelling his life's history of the past 2 years to his alternate reality older son. As Gray's history speech progressed, Jason's demeanor went down and down until by the end of Lawrence's speech, he looked utterly depressed. Laurence had to ask, "What's wrong, son?" Jason shook his head.
It all makes sense now.
Back at the NSA division of Area 51, Jack Larrabee and the much younger Jason continued their solitude.
"Hey, is it just me," began Jack, "or does General Sheldon have, like, a strange accent?"
Jason shook his head. "It's not just you. I know my dialects well, and people haven't had that type of English accent since—" "Since what?" prodded Jack. Jason took a breath. "Since colonial times." Back in 1673, Gray asked of Jason, "What makes sense?" Jason frowned. "Your whole recent timeline is much different than mine. Adding it to my experiences can only mean one thing." "What, Jason?" "Well, your whole situation with the government. It's my fault." And that's it for chapter 29, guys. What does he mean? How is it Jason's fault? Well, you have to find out tomorrow, guys, for chapter 30, guys. All right? I'll see you then.